Okay, class. Okay. Hello? Hello? Hey!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Got a quick question for you here to review. Can anyone out there name the first 4 presidents? Yes, you sir, with the beard.
John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
I'd like to say close, but no. How about you with the goatee?
Mo, Larry, Curly, and Jeff.
No. Sorry. How about you, sir, with the mustache and then just a little bit like right here?
Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison.
Finally. I knew someone would get it. All right, let's move on now to our lesson and the 5th president.
But now we move on to president number 5, James Monroe. And actually, he was one of the last presidents who was originally a founding father. Those guys are getting older now. All right, so he is the last founding father to become president. And as that is changing, other things are changing in the country too. The first 4 presidents, even though they had their own specific problems they had to deal with, they were all pretty similar. Ships being attacked at sea, sailors being taken and pressed into the British Navy, being harassed by France and Great Britain. But now things start to change. The attention turns back to North and South America, specifically Central America and South America, where countries have seen the United States gain its independence, other countries gain their independence, and they start to say, we think it's our turn. In countries like Mexico, Venezuela, Argentina, the Spanish, so Spain, is in control of those countries, much like Great Britain was in control of the United States. But these countries decide it is now our turn. We are going to have our own revolutions. We are going to try to break away from Spain. Of course, Spain and other European countries that controlled some places in South America did not like this one bit. But you know who did like it? America. They wanted Europe out of North and South America. They liked it so much, specifically Monroe liked it so much, that he started something called the Monroe Doctrine. Monroe Doctrine was a big keep out sign that Monroe put on North and South America. Everyone's probably done it if you have a sibling. All right, you put a big keep out sign on your room to try to keep them out. You don't want them going into your stuff, going into your drawers, stealing your stuff. That's what Monroe did. He put a big keep out sign on North and South America, and he said, Europe, stay out. For more on the Monroe Doctrine, let's go to our experts.
Seemingly settled, Monroe used his second term to flex the country's muscle on the international stage.
James Monroe, one of the things that he does is say that the New World and the Old World are 2 separate worlds.
Monroe Doctrine becomes a centerpiece of American foreign policy. Monroe was saying the Caribbean is our bathtub, we get to play in it. South America, Central America is our sphere of influence.
The Monroe Doctrine would be cited as a precedent by many future presidents. William McKinley used it to justify the Spanish-American War. Theodore Roosevelt used it to build the Panama Canal. JFK would cite it when he blocked Soviet ships from Cuba. It has proven to be one of the longest-lasting legacies of the first presidents.
One reason why Monroe, I think, is not more memorable is because it's tough to think of much of what he ever said that was quotable. Even the doctrine that bears his name was largely the handiwork of his Secretary of State, John Quincy Adams. But James Monroe gave us 8 years of peace and prosperity, and that ought to be judged a success for any president.
I think when you look at the sort of founding era presidents, you can say that they're baseline presidents. Each president had a proving moment, and in one way or another, I think each president proved himself.
In the end, Monroe would leave as Washington, Jefferson, and Madison had. He declined to run for a 3rd term and returned home to his estate in Virginia. It was the end of an era for the American presidency.
As long as the presidency was occupied by someone who had been of that first generation of founders, there was this attachment to the past. The first 5 presidents almost inherited the position as their natural right. Subsequent presidents would have to earn it on their own.
Hello everybody. Let's take a quick look at this picture here. Actually, we're going to call it a political cartoon. Now, all the political cartoon is just another way to show something from government or from history, but instead of a textbook where you would have to read it, it does it visually. So let's see if we can figure out what this political cartoon means. First of all, we have a gentleman standing here, dressed in his striped pants, and he has his bow tie and beard. And does anyone know who this represents? Very good. It's Uncle Sam. Now, if you take a look at Uncle Sam's initials, they are US. Uncle Sam usually represents the United States of America. Then we also have some people over here, okay? If you take a look where they're located and think back to our geography unit, way back to the beginning of the year, you have them located, which looks to be in the continent of Europe, over there in the northern and eastern hemispheres. And these gentlemen over here appear to be looking over to the western hemisphere. And Uncle Sam, though, has done something. He's thrown down his hat. And it's important where he's thrown his hat down. Right over Central and South America. What Uncle Sam is saying here is, Europe, we know you like to come over here and colonize and take the resources and set up military bases, but I am claiming this land. And not just for the United States. Uncle Sam's not saying that this land down here is a part of the United States, but he's saying, Europe, this is North and South America, you stay out. And if you notice, on the hat, it says Monroe Doctrine, which said that exact thing. Europe, stay out of North and South America. All right, you've been here too long. You've been sticking your nose in here way too long, so you need to stay out. And that's the Monroe Doctrine. So in this section, you're going to learn a little bit more about the Monroe Doctrine and James Monroe and some of the events that led up to it, including the different revolutions that were taking place in South and Central America. Remember, we're going into Schoology. Keep your fingers crossed. Hope Schoology is working fine. Remember, if it's not, always good to give it a little bit of a break and try again, but hopefully Schoology will hold up for us today. Also, and I can't say this enough, all right, if you have a question, email Mr. Stern, email Mr. Reef. If we have to set up a Zoom session, we will. Okay, we'll do whatever it takes, but you gotta email us first, okay? And we will help you. Can't help you if you don't tell us you're having troubles. So make sure you email us with any questions. We're here if you need us.